Today we're going to crochet a lamb's gargle bag. Now we're using a double-stranded milk cotton with 4.0 millimeters crochet. The bag can be tightened by pulling the cord. And it's very big. Look at the effect of the extension. Next, crochet with me. Double thread loop stitch. Wrap 2 loops around the delivery paper. Insert the crochet into the loop. Bring out a coil. Crochet a needle. Then the crochet is threaded into the lifting ring. Bring out a coil. The crochet wound is pulled through the 2 loops at once. This is a short needle technique. At the first needle target position, crochet a corner, mouthful, and then follow the same method. A total of 6 short stitches are crocheted in the stitch ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After 6 short stitches are completed, we came to the opening. Just push it back. We can see here. There's a wire inside. There's a line outside, and a thread. Pull the wire inside. Pull it tight to the right. And then pull this thread on the outside, such. Our needle lifting ring tightened. So the first lap is complete. Then, with the first needle, which is the mark button, the needle is returned from the original path, inserted into the wheat chips at the top, and crochet a drawing needle. So the first loop is complete, and then the second loop is crochet, first with a lifting needle. Then we enter the first order of needles, the same order of needles, which is to draw needles. In the first order, we crochet 2 short needles in the same order. We do a short stitch first, and then we place the marker button after a short stitch. It's easy for us to get confused when we're new. Then thread the same needle again, take the thread out, and crochet a short needle. So we have completed 2 short stitches in the first stitch. Next we crochet 2 short stitches in each of the following stitches. Into the second needle. Crochet 2 short stitches in the same hole. And then into the third needle. 2 short needles in the same hole. And then through the fourth order. 2 short needles in the same hole. Two short needles in the fifth hole. 2 short needles in the sixth hole. So we're done with the second lap. The second round was completed with a total of 12 short needles, 12 needles. Then we hook up with the first needle with a pull needle. Next, crochet a standing stitch. We start crochet the third loop, and the third loop is 1 stitch after another. Let's see what happens next and next. First, crochet a short stitch in the first stitch. Place a marker button in the first pin. Then add a needle to the second needle. Now we've done a short stitch in the first stitch. The second stitch completes the addition of a short stitch. So we've got a set of stitches each other plus stitches. Then we hook a short needle in the third needle. Then go ahead and add another needle to the fourth needle. So we've got two sets, one needle at a time and one needle at a time. This creates a staggered effect, one stitch after another. Next, we will continue to crochet the third round according to this pattern. One short stitch, one increase stitch. Crochet a total of 6 sets following the pattern of one stitch after every other stitch. One short stitch, one increase stitch. This completes the third round. After completing the third round, there are a total of 18 short stitches. Remove the marker and crochet a draw-up stitch with the first stitch. Then crochet a standing stitch. We crochet the fourth round. For the fourth round, our pattern for increase stitches is increase 1 stitch every 2 stitches. First, in the first stitch, crochet a short stitch. Place a marker in the first stitch. Then, in the second stitch, crochet a short stitch. In the third stitch, increase 1 stitch. This completes one set. Increase 1 stitch every 2 stitches. Then crochet the second set. In the fourth order, add a needle. In the fifth needle, add a needle. In the sixth order, crochet with a short stitch. So we've finished the second group, 2 stitches and 1 stitch. So we've finished the second group. Take a look at. Is it 2 stitches and 1 stitch apart? The effect of 2 stitches plus 1 stitch. And then we follow this pattern all the way to the fourth lap. A total of 2 stitches plus 1 stitch. There are 6 sets of crochet. And when the fourth round is finished, 2 stitches and 1 stitch. That's 24 short stitches. And crochet 1. A needle. Connecting the coil. Then crochet a standing needle. We'll crochet the fifth loop. And the fifth round is to follow. 3 stitches plus 1 stitch. First hook a short needle in the first needle. A short needle in the second order. A short stitch in the third stitch. And then in the fourth needle, crochet with a short stitch. This completes 1. 3 stitches at a time. This completes 1. Then we crochet the second group, first with a short needle in the 5th eye, a short needle in the 6th eye, a short needle in the 7th eye, and a short needle in the 8th eye. So you have 2 sets, 3 stitches plus 1 stitch, 3 stitches plus 1 stitch. We crochet the 5th loop according to this rule. Our 5th lap. The rule of 3 stitches plus 1 stitch. After 6 sets of crochet, we're still the same as the first needle hook. Lymph needle connection. And then a standing needle. And then we crochet the 6th loop. We crochet the front loops. You can also see that we're adding needles in each circle. It's all regular. Our first lap is ring up 6 short needles. The second circle is 1 needle per needle. Third circle, 1 stitch every other, plus 1 stitch. Fourth round, 2 stitches and 1 stitch. Fifth circle, 3 stitches, plus 1 stitch. So our 6th round is skip 4 stitches, and then add 1 stitch. We won't repeat the demonstration afterwards. Next, we follow the pattern of skip 4 stitches, and then add 1 stitch. To complete the 6th round of crochet, the bottom part is crocheted for a total of 6 rounds. After completion, we crochet a slip stitch with the first stitch. After the slip stitch, we crochet 3 chain stitches. After the chain stitches, we crochet 3 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3. Next, we start crocheting the handle part. The handle part requires the use of popcorn stitch. Let's take a look at how to crochet the popcorn stitch. First, wrap the yarn around the hook. Insert the hook into the same stitch as the chain stitches, which is the same stitch as the slip stitch. Pull up a loop. Wrap the yarn around the hook. Pull through the first 2 loops. Wrap the yarn around the hook. Pull through the last 2 loops. This is how we crochet a long stitch. Inside the first stitch of the handle part, crochet 4 long needles in the same stitch. Second, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. And that's 4 long stitches. Pull the line out. Then, we return to count from this side, 1234. This is the 4th order, and then we have eyes to pull the needle, 3 standing needles. Here, us from 1, 2, 3. The third one standing up. 2 outer needles into the needle. Pull the line out. And crochet a braid pin. And then crochet. We're in a needle down there. Such. Crochet a long needle. And then crochet in one of the needles below. Crochet a popcorn needle. This popcorn needle, we crochet 5 times. Long needle, second. 3, 4, 5. And then count back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the penultimate 5th order. Bring the line out, 3. Hook a locking pin. And then crochet into the next stitch. Here, open the first needle you haven't used. That's our next needle. Crochet a long needle. That's how we crochet the first loop of our bag, a popcorn pin, a long pin, popcorn needle, long needle. These are 2 hooked sets, and then we'll continue to follow a popcorn needle, a long needle rule to hook. We're crochet 21. Crochet 2. Crochet 3. 4 sets of crochet, 5 sets of crochet, 6 sets of crochet, crochet 7, crochet 8 sets, crochet 9, 10 sets of crochet, crochet 11, 12 sets of crochet. And then we crochet the last set. Finally, there are still 1 or 2 stitches left here. Then it happens to be a group of crochet. Continue crocheting. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and support the Mingjing and Dian programs. After completing the first round of 21 flower patterns, we crochet a draw-up stitch with the first stitch. The position of crocheting the draw-up stitch is at the center of the first popcorn stitch. Next, crochet 3 chain stitches. Wrap the yarn. Then crochet a treble crochet in the same stitch. In other words, we crochet a treble crochet in the stitch corresponding to the popcorn stitch. Then there is a gap between the two popcorn stitches. For this stitch, we need to crochet a popcorn stitch. It is completely offset from the first round. Completely offset. The stitch where we crochet the popcorn stitch in the first round. We crochet a treble crochet in the second round. The stitch where we crochet the treble crochet in the first round. In the second round, we crochet a popcorn stitch. Might as well. This way, our first group is completed. Then we crochet the second group. First, crochet the yarn over. Then crochet the popcorn stitch in the previous round. Hook a long stitch. Then wrap the yarn around the hook. Here in the center, inside the stitch corresponding to the long stitch, hook a popcorn stitch. Then work another round. Then in the next stitch, that is, inside the stitch corresponding to the popcorn stitch, hook a long stitch. Repeat the hooking and knitting at the back. Hook a popcorn stitch in this stitch of the long stitch. Hook a long stitch in the stitch corresponding to the popcorn stitch. This is how we finish the second round of hooking and knitting. Finally, here, we only have one stitch left. Popcorn stitch, long stitch, and here is a popcorn stitch. Hook a popcorn stitch in the last stitch. That's it. Because our first stitch is a long stitch, then another popcorn stitch. And another popcorn stitch. The last popcorn stitch is completed. Don't forget to crochet a tall stitch. Next, we start with the first stitch. For the first stitch, we crochet a tall stitch here, at the marker's position, and then crochet a yarn over stitch. Forming two rounds as a group. Then crochet in an offset manner like this. Next, we crochet the third row. The crochet method for the third row is exactly the same as the first row, and the crochet method for the fourth row is exactly the same as the second row. It's crocheting in an alternating manner, 2 rows at a time. Here in the third row, we first crochet 3 lucky stitches, then wrap the yarn around the first stitch. This stitch here is a tall stitch, so we need to crochet a popcorn stitch to correspond to it. First crochet a popcorn stitch. Normally, it's 5 popcorn stitches. A popcorn stitch made up of 5 tall stitches. Because here in the first group, we crocheted 3 chain stitches. These 3 chain stitches also count as a tall stitch. So we have 3 chain stitches. And then crochet 4 tall stitches. That's all. After that, we always have a group of 5 tall stitches. Back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is, inside the third of the 3 chain stitches. Hold the yarn. And then crochet a slip stitch. This slip stitch is our first stitch. That is, the yarn over stitch needs to be pulled through with this first slip stitch. Then on top of this popcorn stitch, crochet a tall stitch. Then on the next tall stitch below, crochet a popcorn stitch. Then crochet a tall stitch inside the previous popcorn stitch. Then crochet popcorn stitch in the front loop of the previous long stitch. We won't continue to explain the back part. Everyone is based on the stitch of the long stitch. The previous 2 rows of crochet are the same. Cross crochet. The 3rd row follows the crochet method of the 1st row. The 4th row follows the crochet method of the 2nd row. Now we have completed 3 rows. We need to crochet a total of 10 rows for this main part. Next, we crochet it ourselves. In this way, our main part is completed. Finally, crochet a slip stitch with the 1st stitch. A chain stitch. It is pulled out first. Then our main part is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A total of 10 rounds are crocheted. After the main part is completed, let's crochet its other parts. Its other parts are relatively simple. Other parts, actually, it's just 2. 2 eyes, 2 outer ear part, 2 inner ear parts, a face, a face part, and then these parts of us. It's not like the bottom of our bag. The bottom hook method is similar. I'm not going to repeat it here. And then hook, we look at the bottom of our bag. The difference is that our body, the bottom of the bag, we use a 3.5mm crochet, double-stranded, unhooked, tour theme park. This is the face. Our faces, I used a 3.5mm crochet, and then the single strand unhooked. These gadgets, eyes, face and outer ears. It's all about single strand hook, small accessories, and it's in this drawstring. The drawstring is also hooked with a single strand, except the main body. The rest of us use 3.5mm crochet, and then crochet the single strand. Then this is the specific hooking method. I also have a detailed explanation in the diagram. Let me explain here. If this my eye, take a look. We only hook 3 rounds directly according to the bottom. Hook 3 rounds with a single strand. Hook 2. This is the inner ear part. For the inner ear part, we hooked a total of 4 rounds according to the bottom. Hook 2 pieces with white thread. This is the outer ear part. For the outer ear part, we hooked according to the bottom. Hooked 5 rounds. Then our cheek part is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The cheek part is 7 rounds. The cheek needs to be hooked for 7 rounds. For the 7th round, we skip 4 stitches and add 1 stitch. Hook using the method of skipping 4 stitches and adding 1 stitch. This part of the drawstring. The drawstring is very simple. We hook and knit 2 strands for the drawstring. Let me demonstrate it to you here. The black thread is not visible. I'm using a white thread to demonstrate. We are starting with a locking stitch. Then using a 3.5mm crochet hook. 3.5mm crochet hook. Starting with a braid stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then continue crocheting the desired length of braid stitch. After that, pull out the loose end of the thread. That's it. We crocheted approximately 80 stitches. The appearance of 80 stitches, 90 stitches. Now I will teach everyone how to thread this drawstring. Our front side. That's it. Then we start from the 2nd row. Thread from the 2nd row. Thread it in. Then 1 popcorn stitch, 1 long stitch. Thread it once. 1 popcorn stitch, 1 long stitch. Thread it once. 1 popcorn stitch, 1 long stitch. You thread it once. You keep threading like this. Good. It goes all the way to the side. The other end. That's how it's worn. Worn. Adjust both ends to the same length. Then slightly adjust this position like this. The end of the thread is here, and the other one, we start threading from the side. When threading, we follow this pattern. Which side did it come from in the previous one? We thread from which side? The pattern is consistent. Then it's done like this. Like this. Then pull it. After we finish threading. It's one side. The interface is on this side. The interface is on the other side. The way of threading is the same. After threading, we tie a knot here. Tuck the thread into the small ball. Tuck it in. Then we use our sewing needle to close the opening. Tie a knot, like this. We have completed the part of the ball. So we pull the rope and it's done. After laying it out, we start sewing its face. We stick the face in the right position. Then we use needle and thread to sew around it. If there is glue at home, we can also use glue to stick it. First, we find the position of the face. Find the position of the face. Then we put the eyes. Put the 2 eyes and sew them on. The eyeballs are 2 buttons. They are 2 buttons. The back of it is a fuzzy mouth. Then I cut it off with scissors. I glued it. If sewing, no need to cut. If sewing, we can sew it directly here. Then we make the ears. Ears. Our ears are black outer ears. Then sew the inner ear on top of the outer ear. We lay it on and sew it up. Trim the loose ends of the thread. After it's done, we sew the ears on both sides separately. That's it. Next, we sew it ourselves.